Okay, once again, hi everyone, and an official welcome to today's session where I'm going to touch on the technical aspects of writing an essay, especially if it is going to be about a play of your choice. And I'm going to assume that most of you are going to be doing Hamlet Machine, sorry, Hamlet Machine, as history has proven that most students tend to choose that play in their assignments. So a few matters. The session, it is being recorded, and it also, the aim of the session is just to give you technical guidelines on how you can approach assignment two. So we're going to have a separate lesson on assignment two, but this particular one, it's going to focus on the technical aspects. And I'm hoping that afterwards you're going to revisit your assignment and make your tweaks here and there based on what you have learned today. Because the session is recorded, it is going to be posted on the YouTube channel for easy access because I found that if you post the link to the recorded session from MS Teams, a lot of students tend to struggle to actually access the recording and need to get permission from the person who did the recording, which is a bit of an admin nightmare. So it'll be available on the YouTube channel. If you haven't joined our WhatsApp group, I encourage you to please join. There you will have direct contact with me. If you have any questions relating to the assignment, please feel free to post on the group. Okay, so let us look at the term critically engaged. Like, what do we understand? Like, what does it mean to actually critically engage with a text? In the past, students often do not perform well or fall flat in their essays because one of the things that they're not able to do is actually critically engage with the play that they have chosen. So it will be like they will explain a theoretical term, for example, intertextuality. They'll explain it beautifully, but then they don't provide an in-depth analysis on how intertextuality is applicable or it applies to the play that they have chosen. They don't explain how, and they don't even provide the evidence to support the how. So yeah, it's very important that when you are reading a play, you really need to understand it like deeply, like critically engage with the text before you even answer the questions that I've given you in the assignment that relate to the play of your choice. So in that, it's basically a systematic and a scholarly study of literature. Literature in the sense being drama, a dramatic text. And what you are doing when you are actually reading the play for your assignment is you're doing um, a study method called close reading, or as we like to say, a literary analysis of the play of your choice. All right. So when you're reading this play or when you're doing a literary analysis of this play, which is marked by theoretical concepts such as parody, intertextuality, pastiche, whatever, you need to look at how this play that you have chosen has produced meaning through the use of plot, the use of structure. What's the overall structure of the play? Is this play divided into three acts or three scenes? Did the playwright decide that, nope, I'm going to write this as a one-act play? And look at the playwright's use of language. What kind of language is the playwright actually using, or as we like to say, the style of language that the playwright is using in the play? Is the playwright using language that the kind of language that we speak every day? I think in creative writing, we call it demotic writing, but I need to double check on that. And also look into the playwright's use of genre. What is the genre of the play? Because the genre of your play that you're reading is going to be linked to the use of the playwright's language and also how the playwright has structured the play and the plot. All right. So in essence, critical engagement is basically a close structured you're doing an objective analysis of the play, not a subjective analysis where now you are using your own personal feelings to actually read a play, but you're actually using the technical aspects of engaging with the play. So when it comes to critical engagement, there are certain steps I say that one must one must follow. It's divided into three important steps. And I thought, for this lesson, let me use Hamlet Machine as an example. So when you see a question about, for example, parody and pastiche, and the question says, state the 5 categories of parody and pastiche in reference to a play of your choice, right? There are certain steps that you need to follow before you even get into discussing the 5 categories of parody and pastiche, right? First thing, engage with the text critically in a systematic way through close reading, all right? So here you need to actually do a systematic study of Heinemüller's play. And then with the critical engagement, you need to understand how the playwright is actually producing the meaning of this particular play. Then the second step, this is where now you do the close reading of Hamlet Machine. Look at the structure of the play. Did the playwright employ a fragmented structure of the play, or did he decide to follow the traditional route where everything, it's like he's using the Aristotelian, I call it the Aristotelian formula of writing a play. Then with close reading, consider the playwright's use of the narrative. Is the narrative straight and narrow? Is it like a sequential one, or is it disjointed? Then look at the linguistic styles, or the linguistic styles that actually stand out of the play. For example, is Heine Miller in this play making use of poetic imagery? Like he's writing a line that, almost comes across as use of poetic imagery and and also the historical context of the play. So have a look at when was this play written and what did this play historically, what did it respond to? Was it textually responding to the original text of the play? And so the playwright decided to write a play which is basically a reinterpretation of the original text, but using parody or pastiche. I'm just making that as an example. And then last but most importantly, like how does this playwright produce meaning? Like, does he make use of intertextuality, which I believe is one of the 5 categories of parody and pastiche? Does he make use of imagery in the dialogue that takes place? And in terms of storytelling, does he abandon or stick to linear storytelling? When I say linear storytelling, what I'm basically referring to is the Aristotelian way of actually writing drama. If you don't know at third year level, if you don't know what that means, the Aristotelian way of writing drama, I really do want to encourage you to actually revisit that, familiarize yourself with that. So, if, for example, a playwright decides to abandon the Aristotelian formula of writing a play, then obviously this is going to force the reader, in this case, you, the student, to actually construct your meaning in the text. And what these three steps to critically engaging with the text is, it basically shapes how you actually answer the five categories of parody and pastiche. So first, critically engage with the play. Thereafter, you delve into the theoretical concepts of this play, which in this case is parody and pastiche, and its five categories. So some very helpful sources if you want to do some reading that's going to help you boost your essay writing. And if you're going to use these sources, please list them as your secondary sources. Literary Theory, a very short introduction. That's a very, very good book. My personal favorite as a lecturer, I would say would be the Norton Anthology of Theory and Criticism. That's just my personal opinion. So these are some books you can source either online or on the library if you want to do some extra reading that's going to help with assessment too. So are there any questions that you have regarding this particular presentation? Just keep in mind that questions that pertain to the assignment only will be covered in the next lesson. But for this particular one, are there any questions that you may have? Yeah, I see there aren't any questions. So I'm going to assume everyone knows how to actually critically engage with the text. Um, just remember, guys, that when you are writing your essay, especially when it comes to theoretically discussing a term or defining a term, you have to provide evidence from the text to illustrate, or let me just say, to balance your theoretical um, discussion. So by evidence, I mean either paraphrase a scene from the play or quote a scene from the play and say this exemplifies intertextuality. Other than that, I did say this will be a very short session. The one on assessment 2 is going to be a slightly longer session. So please ensure that you probably come with any questions that you might have. Trying to think if there's anything else. I will also touch on AI use, how to ethically use AI, because AI is kind of like taking over, and I believe the university now, well, at least our faculty, School of Arts, has a policy regarding the use of AI. So I'll touch on that in the next lesson. Other than that, thank you very much for attending today's session. I hope you found it very helpful as the very first step into writing that essay of yours. I hope you all have a wonderful day, and please look after yourselves. Bye for now.